It's not insurmountable. It's not 2008. But the Philadelphia Eagles, well, they're going to need a little luck on Sunday. Mike Owens is here. I'm Adrian Fedque. All right. So I just said it. It's not 2008. They don't need like all these crazy scenarios to happen in order to make the playoffs. But first things first, you got to beat the Redskins and you got to beat the Giants in order to make the postseason to even have a chance. So let's talk about the game. Let's break down the scenarios. Let's talk Eagles football. Mike, go ahead, buddy.
Well, losing to the Cowboys was a devastating blow to the Eagles because now we do not control our own destiny. The Cowboys control their own destiny. So the Eagles, all they can do is focus on winning their games. And then we just have to hope that the Cowboys lose to the Colts or to the Redskins in the final game of the season. So it's a shame that we couldn't pull out, that win against the Cowboys, but, letting the Cowboys jump out to a 21-0 lead really came back to, bite us in the ass. Again, turnovers were a big issue for the Eagles, and now we find ourselves in this situation. It's a situation that we didn't want to be in, but we're in it. So we're going to have to dig ourselves out of it, and like you were saying, this isn't 2008. This scenario that we're in right now, it very well could happen. I mean, there's a very good chance that the Cowboys lose to the Colts because the Cowboys are actually not that great of a home team this year. So it's definitely possible.
Yeah, and I'm just going to break down the scenarios right now. The Eagles, the best chance, obviously, is going to be winning the NFC East, getting a 3 seed, and playing a home game in the wild card round. They would need, obviously, the Colts to beat Dallas on Sunday. Or, as you said, Washington beating Dallas in Week 17. Obviously, the Redskins beat Dallas and Big D earlier this season. Now, the wild card scenarios, Detroit would need to lose to either actually, they'd need to lose at Chicago and Green Bay. Seattle would need to lose 2 games at Arizona and at home to St. Louis. That's not happening. Green Bay at Tampa Bay versus Detroit. That's not happening either. So the best chance out of those 3 is obviously probably Detroit, but the Eagles are going to have to hope that Jimmy Clausen plays the game of his life because the Bears right now are a mess. They bench Jay Cutler. I mean, that's not going to happen. Detroit's not going to Chicago and losing that game. I mean, we saw what Chicago looked like on Monday night. So you can pretty much throw that one out the window. But, there is a slight chance of it happening because these are the Lions. This is the same team that's kind of collapsed down the stretch over the last couple seasons. So maybe it's possible for that to happen, but most likely not.
Yeah, like you were saying, that Lions scenario with them losing their final 2 games probably isn't going to happen. Actually, karma came back to bite us because initially, this past Sunday, we were actually cheering for the Lions to take down the Vikings because we obviously were thinking that the Eagles were going to beat the Cowboys, and it would have helped out the Eagles possibly getting a number 1 or a number 2 seed. But now, looking back on it, the Lions winning that game actually hurt us. So it's crazy how things work out. 1 second you're cheering for a team, and then the next, you're not cheering for them. So crazy scenarios here, but like we're saying, it's definitely very possible, for the Eagles to still make the playoffs. But I'll tell you what, I mean, the loss to the Cowboys was just so devastating. I mean, I'm still trying to recover. I think most of us are because going into that game, I mean, mostly everyone thought that the Eagles were going to have a good shot to win, especially here in Philadelphia. I mean, we definitely thought the Eagles would be able to win. And you look back on the game, and it's just frustrating because the Eagles are definitely the better team. But the problem was it's the same things came back to haunt us again. Like I was saying, you can't turn the ball over. You can't let a good team jump out to a 21-0 lead on you. So knowing that we should have won that game against the Cowboys, it's just a killer because now you sit here and you think maybe there's a chance that we do go 11-5 and don't even make the playoffs. So still trying to recover, but we just have to move on to the Redskins and take care of business there.
Yeah, if that happens, Eagles would be the third 11-5 team to not make the postseason. That is just insane. I believe the 1985 Broncos did it, and Matt Castle led Patriots 2008. After Brady went down Week 1, Castle led them to go 11-5, but the Patriots, they still didn't make the playoffs. So yeah, the Eagles are trying to join some elite company. Hopefully they don't join that company. So hopefully it's another team that joins that company. But, well, yeah. So, all right. This is where I want to, kind of compare 2008 to now because there's a lot of differences. Because, obviously some Eagles fans are trying to stay positive. They're trying to say, well, maybe if they could sneak into the postseason, you never know what's going to happen because, you can get hot and make a run. Well, don't get your hopes up, all right, because 2008 was a lot different. 2008, the Giants were your 1 seed. They were 12-4, and the Eagles, well, they beat the Giants earlier that month, like a month prior. It was what 20. They won. What was like 23-8. They beat the Giants at the Meadowlands, and then they went in the divisional round. They spanked them again. And Carolina was your 2 seed. So your 1 and 2 seeds were not like upper echelon teams in the NFL. They were teams that were beatable. This season, you have Green Bay and Seattle. If Seattle gets that 2 seed, forget about it. Eagles, they're not going to make it past the divisional round. So don't get your hopes up that if the Eagles make the playoffs that maybe they can make a run. It's not going to happen. All right. So it just don't even get your hopes up. But while I do say that, I think it's imperative to take the next step in the process of becoming a Super Bowl contender down the line to make the postseason, to win the NFC East again, to win a playoff game, because that's taking a step in the right direction. So I think that's imperative. And also to break down the 2008 scenarios that happened, we actually looked back at this. I guess as the years go by, we thought that the Eagles, a lot more happened than it did, but it really didn't. So what happened was Chicago went to Houston, they lost, and the big shocker was Oakland going into Tampa Bay and beating them. So those were your 1 o'clock games, setting up the winner take all for the 6th seed. Obviously the Eagles they went and they destroyed the Cowboys 44-6. That was one of the most awesome games of all time. I mean, that was great to see Romo fail again in one of those scenarios. So going back to Mike now, get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I really agree with everything you're saying there. It's really key for the Eagles to make the playoffs here and really just win one playoff game, because if you do that, then you're taking a step in the right direction, like you're saying. If you don't make the playoffs here, even if we go 11-5, even though it's an improvement with our record from last year, you kind of feel like it's a step backwards because we didn't make the playoffs, obviously, and we wouldn't be winning a playoff game. So into the playoffs in order to move forward here with the program. Now, the one thing is the Eagles they're going to face some real challenges if they do make the playoffs, and it's just it's really almost impossible for them to make a run at it this year, because if they were to get in, they're gonna have to face quarterbacks possibly like Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and then if they even get really lucky and somehow they made it all the way to the Super Bowl, you're probably gonna have to face Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. And this secondary, I mean, they showed it all season that they are not ready to take on a quarterback of that caliber. So even if the Eagles were to make it into the playoffs, the chances of them actually making a run are very slim. So all we can hope for is really for them to win a playoff game, and then they'll probably end up losing, to the Packers or Seattle.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where I wanted to bring this up because some of you Eagles fans are unbelievable because I'm hearing some guys on Twitter. They're like, "Well, I'd rather them not have make the playoffs because then they're just going to let me down in the postseason." That is like some of the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Honestly, come on, guys, really? You don't want them to make the postseason because they're going to lose in the playoffs? That's just ridiculous. Like, come on. I think gaining playoff experience is a big deal. And if you make the postseason, you win the NFC East again, you take another step, you win a playoff game, you build momentum for next season. Too many Eagles fans, they live in the now. You got to think about the future, too. Come on, guys. Get your heads up. All right? I know we just lost to the Cowboys, and it hurts. It stings. It was like a dagger in my heart. It's like Romeo and Juliet. But, man, I'm done talking about that.
Yeah, well, we kind of got a little bit excited here because we were in year 2 of Chip Kelly, and things were going along very smoothly. We were really ahead of schedule, and then we've entered this tough 2-game stretch here where they were really, really big games for us, really big tests. And we failed. I mean, we failed to pass them. So, kind of set us back to reality where this is only year 2 of Chip Kelly. And, we're starting to learn that our defense is going to have to improve dramatically if we want to go to the Super Bowl under Chip Kelly. Obviously, Chip Kelly is a great offensive coach, but we're going to need to get playmakers in the secondary if we want to make it to the next step. And that it's been so evident in the last 2 games, and especially in that Seattle game. So, yeah, if next year would be year 3, and I think year 3 or year 4 under Chip Kelly is where you can really make a run for it, assuming that they get some talent in the draft.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and this is why going 11-5, not making the playoffs, is a failure. Because going into the season, the Eagles, at least schedule-wise, it looked like it was going to be, very, very difficult. But as the season has played out, it hasn't really been as tough as we all thought it was going to be. So, getting 11 wins, it's almost like last year. It's getting 10 wins, but here's the thing: they've only beaten what? 2 good teams this year, Dallas and Indianapolis, and all these other games that, they didn't win. Obviously, they were close in all of them. But if you're not first, you're last. So losing to Arizona, losing to San Francisco, losing to Green Bay, losing to Seattle. So you don't make the postseason, and then you're going to have to hear all offseason that you can't beat good teams. So get into the playoffs. Hopefully something happens in order for that to happen, and then go and beat somebody in the wild card round. So at least you can say that you can somewhat beat a good team, because obviously every team in the NFC this season that's going to make the postseason is a good team, because you're looking at every team's going to go at least 10-6, if not 11-5. So, well, everyone besides the NFC South winner, but we're not going to see them. So, yeah, so that's that, and that's all I wanted to say when it pertains to that subject.
Yeah, well, the thing about Chip Kelly not being able to beat good teams, it's kind of becoming concerning. But really, when I look at it, I feel like if the Eagles are able to go out and find a shutdown corner, find another safety that they can pair up with Malcolm Jenkins, I think that's when you'll really be able to judge Chip Kelly against good teams. Because at this point, I really just feel like you can't do it because he doesn't have the defense to win games for them right now when they play against good teams. I mean, they can go out and they can beat bad teams, but when they get into a situation when they're going up against star wide receivers and elite quarterbacks in this league, and you got guys like Bradley Fletcher and Kerry Williams out there as your cornerbacks. I don't care who's your coach. It's going to be tough, to win games when you're going up against, wide receivers and quarterbacks like that.
And to harping on your point a little bit, this is why it's a process. You learn, you make improvements, you make adjustments, and you improve for next season. So obviously, coming up draft time, first round, second round, you better go get secondary help. All right, so hopefully that's what they do. And well, the whole mortgage for Mariota thing, that's a story for another day. But the Eagles need secondary help before they start thinking about going get a guy like him. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. All right, so moving on to another topic. Trent Cole broke his hand on Sunday. He is not going to be playing, probably most likely for the rest of the season. So this is going to be a chance for Brandon Graham to shine. And the Eagles, they've already begun contract negotiations with him. They're trying to get him signed before he becomes a free agent. And I think he's a must-sign in my opinion. So if they can lock him up, obviously this would probably spell the end for Cole in an Eagles uniform. So, yeah, here's off to you, Mike.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it seems that Cole has played his last game in an Eagles uniform. With the broken hand, the uncertainty of the Eagles' future this season regarding the playoffs. He's probably done here in Philadelphia because his cap hit next year is going to be like $11.5 million. So obviously the Eagles aren't going to be able to afford to take that hit with such an older and veteran player like him when they got a younger guy like Brandon Graham who seems like he's ready to step in. I'm really excited for Graham because he's a guy that I feel like we've both always liked. He's just kind of gotten the short end of the stick here in Philadelphia so far during his career, but I really feel like right now he's starting to flourish. And when he even had to step in, this past week against the Cowboys, there really wasn't too much of a drop-off. Graham could still get the job done. The one thing that Graham has really improved on is his pass coverage. We know that he can get to the quarterback, but he's definitely improved in his pass coverage. So definitely excited to see, what the future is for Graham there. And, the other thing is, with the injury to Trent Cole, I mean, the Eagles are so thin at linebacker that Marcus Smith will be getting his shot in the rotation. He's going to see some time at outside linebacker and inside linebacker. So we will all be crossing our fingers because all the reports out of the NovaCare complex are not very positive for Marcus Smith. This is looking like another firefighter pick. Marcus Smith, who knows what he's going to retire. He might retire and become a fisherman because he is just he's not panning out right now. And, oh, man, if this one doesn't work out, this is going to be tough to swallow.
Now, obviously, it's still a little bit difficult to judge him because he's in his first season, but when you look at the reports, yeah, it's not good at all. It's not good at all. So, I mean, obviously it took Graham a while to get going, so maybe the same will happen for Smith, but he came in raw as a prospect. But, yeah, it's not looking good at all. All right, so to get back to Graham a little bit, you brought up the fact that he's become better as in pass coverage this season. Completely agree with that. In my opinion, I think he's better at a 4-3, but I think he could play this position, the 3-4 outside linebacker. So, he's always been, trying to learn a new position or having another defensive coordinator. He's been, you said it, he's had the short end of the stick. He's always had someone else in front of him, but now this is finally his opportunity. Not only is he going to be starting, but hopefully he gets that big payday from the Eagles, because I think he's on the cusp of being a really really good player. So he's always been that good player, but now he can be a starter, be a double-digit sack guy, stuff like that. So be the heir apparent to Trent Cole. And the other thing about Cole that I wanted to talk about, he has said that he doesn't want to wear a club on his hand because this injury happened last season to Clay Matthews. Matthews played with a club, but Cole doesn't want to do that. So that's that.
Yeah, so you won't see the club out there on Cole. It looks like he's probably going to sit out the rest of the regular season here. But like you're saying, brings along a good opportunity for Graham. And, you got also, along those linebackers, you got guys like, D'Amico Ryans, who could be coming, to the end of his career with the Eagles here. So, that brings along the opportunity for Marcus Smith, too. So, I think, it'll be interesting to see how Marcus Smith does in these, final two games, because the Eagles really don't have much tape on the guy right now. I mean, they've really only seen him out in the practice field. So it'll be interesting to see him in, live action on the field. So, we'll see what he can do. You just got to hope for the best with him, because Eagles did, waste a first-round draft pick on him. So, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that we will. All right, so we can finally get into this Redskins game. All right, we got a lot off our chest before we even get to this game. So now I've realized why RG3 has the RG3 moniker, because, well, he's not RG6, he's RG3, because the Redskins, they always settle for field goals. I found a crazy stat. The Redskins, they're 0-5 this season when RG3 takes a majority of the snaps, and they've only scored over 13 points one time. So RG3's not cutting it right now. And Gruden, Washington's head coach, Jay Gruden, I had to make sure I didn't call him John. He had some interesting words during a press conference earlier this week. Let's see if I can find it here on my Twitter. This is a quote from Gruden himself. And he said, "It's important to get a lead so Griffin doesn't have to do a lot of drop-back passing and defense reading." Ouch. He's basically throwing him under the bus, saying he's not a good quarterback.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, and the thing is that it's probably pretty accurate too. Gruden he had some comments too about Deshaun Jackson. They asked him about him because he's dealt with an injury here recently, and well, he was just pretty much saying that the Redskins aren't seeing the same production from Jackson ever since the injury, and well, we saw that here in Philadelphia in the past. So yeah, Gruden's not one to shy away from comments here with his own players, especially with Griffin, like you were saying. He's taken a few shots at Griffin this year, and I mean the Eagles. They're probably fortunate to be facing RG3 in this game. Now RG3 is not a guy he shouldn't beat you with his arm. The thing that the Eagles are going to have to worry about is RG3 beating him with his legs.
Yeah, and I'm trying to pull up stats here. All right, because obviously we want to be comparing Deshaun and Jeremy Maclin this season. So here are the stats. Here it is, guys. Jackson, 50 receptions, 957 yards, 5 touchdowns. Maclin, on the other hand, 78 catches, 1,207 yards, and 10 scores. So obviously we can see who's having the better season. And The Bitterbirds, we were always, on the Macklin bandwagon. We've been saying that he's the better receiver out of the two. The numbers just never showed it until this season. So there you go. We just, somewhat proved to you guys why Macklin is the better guy.
Yeah, well, when Deshaun Jackson was here, and now that he's in Washington, I mean, all Deshaun is, I mean, he's a playmaker, but he just plays the wide receiver position. All you do with Jackson is, you send him deep and you hope that you can get the long ball with him. Jackson is not a guy that's gonna run great routes. If a play gets broken down, Jackson isn't a guy that's going to work to get open. He's going to give up on the play. Macklin is a totally different type of player, and he's also has a different type of personality. So there's a reason why Macklin is having the success that he is. Now, the Eagles still are definitely, missing Jackson in that deep ball department. But, besides that, I don't think they're really feeling the effects really from the loss of Deshaun.
Yeah, I think the guy that's really uh, not seeing the beneficiary of Deshaun, it's probably LaShawn McCoy, because obviously the holes they've shrunken up this season. A lot of teams are playing the run now, and trying to make the quarterbacks beat them because you don't have that long threat anymore. All right, so we're going to talk about Mark Sanchez now. Earlier this week, it was already ruled that Nick Foles is going to be out this week. It was after the X-ray on Monday. Probably not coming back next week either. So we're going to have to hope that Mark Sanchez, he bounces back. Because the last two games, they haven't been pretty. He's combined for just 348 yards. He's got 3 interceptions, completing just 56.3% of his passes. And that 56.3% is not good in this offense, considering how many bubble screens, the little screens, the short routes that the Eagles run. They get a lot of yardage after the catch, and 56.3, that's not cutting it.
Yeah, the thing that concerns me about Sanchez is I feel like he's gotten progressively worse here. He started out pretty decent, a lot better than we expected, you could say, but he's kind of went back to the old Sanchez here, and he's reverted back to his days with the Jets, and we're kind of seeing the same things. A lot of dumb interceptions, turnovers, missed throws, high, wide, short. So, and the problem has been the last two games, the Eagles have kind of had to put the ball in Sanchez's hands, and that's a thing that the Eagles can't get into, but they've been forced to with the situations that they've been in. So if you're going to put the ball in Sanchez's hands, it's not going to be a good situation. So he might have a decent game this week because it is the Redskins, but he's we've been saying this, he's an all right backup quarterback, but he's not going to be able to win you the big game. He can beat bad teams, but he's not going to be able to beat good teams.
No, and I think if Foles, say the Eagles make the playoffs, I'm going to Foles in that wild card game. I don't care about the rust. I don't care about all that. I don't see how he could be worse than Sanchez. Now, I know the numbers say that Foles has been kind of just as bad with all the turnovers, but the offensive line's healthy now, and I think that's a big key for Foles, because earlier this season, obviously we know about all the offensive line shakeups, how they were never healthy. Foles he had a lot of trouble, so try to combat all that. So the offensive line's healthy now. Obviously, like I said, he's going to be rusty, but I think you got to go to him. I'm just sick of the Sanchez thing, and even to get Foles another playoff start, I think is pretty important too.
Yeah, well, definitely, getting Foles another playoff start would be key, and you would hope that, maybe he could win that playoff game. Get some confidence for him heading in to next season. And yeah, really, I think next season is the key for Foles. I mean, they still have him next year on his rookie deal, so they don't have to, go out and spend all this money on giving him a big contract, so they can still play him on his rookie deal. And you improve the defense in the off season, and you see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like we're you know, on the loan part here when we say that I don't think Foles is that bad. He's never going to be a leader or anything, but everyone's like giving up on him again. It's crazy. I mean, all this talk about who they should draft as a quarterback. Should they bring in RG3? Should they go find somebody else? I think it's all crazy talk. Again, I think you got to see what you have in Foles next season.
Yeah, but you definitely do, and it's kind of a shame the things that worked out the way they did for Foles because he came out, last year and he put up, these insane numbers, and he set the bar so high that he was never going to be able to live up to that. And then he comes out this year and kind of has a down year. Really, the main thing was interceptions. Only two interceptions last year. Then he comes in and he's throwing interceptions all over the place this year, and that's kind of a concern. But at the same time, sometimes there is that sophomore slump with a quarterback. So you got to hope that's what it is with Foles. The thing that's encouraging about Foles is that we saw last year is that he definitely has the capability to play quarterback in this league and be a decent starter. So I think that's really what you got to go off of. And like you said, well, you give him next year, and then you see what he can do, and you hope that he can put up a kind of similar numbers to like he did last year.
Yeah, exactly. All right, another topic now. The Eagles lead the league with 34 turnovers on the season. Oh boy, not good. Not good, people. Especially considering last season when the Eagles, they really didn't turn the ball over at all. And obviously, it's incredible to think that the Eagles are even in a position to make the postseason with all those turnovers. But the Redskins, they don't really force any turnovers. They only have 16 on the season themselves. They've only picked the ball off 5 times. So if Sanchez is going to get back on track, it is this game because their secondary stinks. Their defense isn't very good. Now, we did say that last week with Dallas. Their defense isn't very good, but Sanchez was missing open receivers. So we'll see what happens this week. I mean, Rashad Breeland, he's a rookie 4th-round corner. He's going to be lining up against Macklin. Now, he's not really that bad. I don't think he's that bad. He held his own against Des Bryant on that Monday night game. David Amerson is your other guy. I mean, I think he should be able to match up with Riley Cooper because everybody can match up with Riley Cooper. But Jordan Matthews should have himself a day. I think he's the guy to look at in the slot. And so we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't see how the Redskins are going to stop the Eagles. A lot of injuries in their defense as well. I mean, they lost Brian Orakpo again. I mean, this guy just can't stay healthy for them. They do still have Ryan Kerrigan, and he's a beast. But I think the Eagles, they should be able to move the ball as long as Sanchez hits his throws.
Yeah, well, you gotta hope that Sanchez can hit his throws. That's been the problem here recently. So really, I mean, this is gonna be a game where the Eagles gotta just get McCoy going. If you can get him going, that should really open up the passing game with these cornerbacks that the Redskins are, putting out there. Breeland seems like he's got a bright future here, but besides that. They don't have too many guys in that secondary that really scare you, like you were saying. This could be the Sanchez and Jordan Matthews show again this week. But in reality, the Eagles shouldn't have a problem with this Redskins team. The only way the Eagles run into trouble, again, will be if they make stupid mistakes and they turn the ball over, and they say they let the Redskins jump out to a 21-0 lead. You just can't do things like that in the NFL and expect to win.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to the other side of the ball. Obviously, Deshaun Jackson making another start against his former team. Had 5 receptions for 117 yards and a score in the first matchup. And this is the part where we're going to cringe because he's going to be lined up against Bradley Fletcher. Oh boy! But when I look at the Redskins offense, I think the matchup that they have to exploit is their right tackle, Tom Compton, 6th-round pick in 2012. I think he's a guy that can be beaten. You look at the left side of the line, pretty strong with Trent Williams. They got Sean Laval as their left guard. Corey Lichtensteiger is your center. But on the right side of the line, Chris Chester, Tom Compton, I think those guys can be had. So I look for Connor Barwin to have a big game. I'm curious to see how they're going to utilize them because when they've had mobile quarterbacks this season, they've used Barwin in that spiral. It worked against Carolina, didn't work as well against Seattle. So we'll see what they do with him.
Yeah, it could be a game where they use Barwin as that spy again. But like you were saying, the Eagles shouldn't have a problem getting to the quarterback in this game. Really, when the Eagles play well on defense and when the cornerbacks seem to have their best games, when the Eagles get a ton of pressure on the quarterback, you go and you look at the Thanksgiving game against Dallas is a pretty good example. Eagles got a lot of pressure on Romo, and he had no time to get the ball downfield. So this is going to be another one of those games, especially with Deshaun Jackson, the home run hitter. You definitely want to make sure that you get to RG3 so he doesn't have the time to make that throw deep down the field.
Yep, exactly. And you look at their running game, they like to use the stretch runs. So Eagles, they've had a lot of success this season against stretch teams. They shut down Morris in their first matchup. They've shut down Arian Foster. They've now shut down DeMarco Murray twice. Murray's got 100-yard games in every game but 3 this season. 2 of those were against the Eagles. So the Eagles have been shutting down opposing running backs this season. I don't see anything different. Saturday, I have to say Saturday. It's not Sunday this game.
Yeah, they shouldn't have a problem with Morris. Like you were saying, Eagles pretty good against that stretch run, obviously. They've got a pretty athletic front 7, so it plays in favor of the Eagles there. So I don't think that the Redskins should have too much success on the ground. The main thing will really just be the Eagles preventing RG3, from running the ball.
Yep, exactly. All right, so we'll get predictions for this game real quick because there is another game that we do want to talk about, obviously. So we'll make our picks for this game, and honestly, I don't see the Redskins winning this one. Maybe the Eagles, they do start a little flat. We'll see. I don't know, but I don't see it. I think this is going to be a nice, easy victory, to be honest with you. The Redskins have been in a huge spiral the last month or whatever it's been. I believe they've lost like 5 or 6 in a row. They got shut out by the Rams at home. They're not scoring points. So I see this as like a 30-13 win.
Yeah, I actually, feel the same way. My score, I'm going to say it's going to be 30-20. I actually think the Eagles are going to be up like 30-13, somewhere in that range. But I think the Redskins score a late touchdown to make the game, closer than it actually is. Mm-hmm. But Eagles shouldn't really have a problem with the Redskins. So yeah, it shouldn't be much to worry about in this game. Just can't let the Redskins get into the game anyway with turnovers that we make or stupid plays, and so that actually brings me to something that I saw today, and it kind of it pissed me off because I don't know if you saw this, but they had the Eagles special teams huddle before the Cowboys game, and the Eagles special teams corner, Phip, he actually told the Eagles, he said, watch out for the wind. The kickoff could be short.
Mm.
And, like, that just makes me so angry. Like, how were the Eagles not ready for that when they were prepared for it? The coaches told them what was going to happen, and they still didn't execute.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I have nothing to say about that. That pisses me off now that you. Oh man, because honestly, that just began everything last week. I mean, it just started with the opening kickoff. Yeah. All right. All right. Let's talk about the Cowboys game now. Let's talk about this game because I think this is that game where we're going to be paying more attention to this one than we are the Eagles almost. All right. As we know, DeMarco Murray has a broken hand. I don't know what he did today, but I know yesterday because I wrote a story on it. He was listed as not participating in practice, and basically, if you don't take part in team drills, you get listed as not practicing. But he was out on the field. He participated in individual drills, took handoffs from Brandon Weeden. He has this like plastic. It's not a cast, but like a shell on his hand, and they still haven't decided whether he can play. He's going to be, we're going to have to look at Friday's injury report. I'm sure he's going to be questionable, so we're probably going to have to wait until Sunday to find out if he can go. And obviously, if he can't go, that's a huge deal for the Cowboys. They're going to have to turn to Joseph Randle in the running game. So, so that's that.
Well, yeah, the Eagles actually might have, caught a break there with DeMarco Murray.
Yeah, a little luck.
Yeah, luck, a little break,
Break. I like it. Break.
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't too confident about the Colts beating the Cowboys here, but with this, Murray injury, I think it kind of throws a little bit of a wrench into things because Murray is, he's a really big part of that Cowboys offense. Obviously, everything revolves around him. It's like really McCoy with the Eagles. They need to get Murray going to get the offense rolling. So if they don't have him in this game, and it could cause some problems for the Cowboys, especially. I mean, the Colts, they've already won their division, but they're going trying to get home field. So still a big game for the Colts. So, yeah, definitely would be a big blow for the Cowboys if they don't have Murray out there.
It's funny. Your dog must listen to our show because we brought up the Cowboys. We just started talking about him a minute ago, and I hear him barking in the background. So obviously he wants to add his input as towards his hatred toward the Cowboys as well.
Yeah, I've trained my dog well. So he knows that anytime the Cowboys get brought up, he starts to bark. But yeah, the Cowboys are not really that great at home this year, so there's a good chance that they lose that game. I think that the Colts can do it.
All right, here's what the next topic we're going to talk about. You brought it up slightly. I wish this game wasn't Week 16 because the Colts, they just wrapped up the AFC South. And here's the problem. They're a game back of New England and Denver for first place, well, for a bye in the playoffs. And they've also lost to each of these teams. So they're basically like 2 games back with 2 to play. So they're not going to catch up to either of these teams. So it's going to be interesting as to which Colts team we're going to see on Sunday. Now, I think they'll be ready to go because, there is still that chance that they can get a playoff bye, but it's not going to happen. I mean, Denver plays like Oakland in Week 17, so you can forget about that. And New England, I didn't look at their schedule. We're not talking about Dallas anymore. Jesus. Actually, we are, but we're talking about the Colts. um, yeah. So now,
Like,
tell your
it's
dog
not
to shut the
happy.
fuck up, dude. Yeah. He basically just said Des Bryant has a small dick. I could read dog code.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it must be a Cowboys fan delivering a package.
Oh boy, yeah. So obviously, I guess the Colts they still want to stay ahead of the Bengals, but I don't think it really matters. If you're a 3 seed or you're a 4 seed in the AFC. So we'll see how they come out. I mean, obviously, I would think this is a game where Andrew Luck has a big day. The Cowboys secondary isn't that great. Defense isn't that great. So we'll see. And they throw the ball a lot. Don't run the ball a lot anymore. No, I mean they've turned to Daniel Herron and Trent Richardson as a running back. So we'll see what happens. I mean, you said you weren't as confident, but like you're feeling a little bit better now with Murray. I was somewhat in that state, but I've been trying to stay positive. So I'm like, all right, I'm like kind of looking into the Cowboys not being great at home, and that's like what I'm turning to.
Yeah, well, my thought process is too that recently in the last couple of weeks, the Cowboys defense has kind of come back to reality here, and they're really not that good of a defense. So I think that Luck should be able to throw the ball against them. And the other key here too is that obviously the Colts are a dome team, and they're going in to play the Cowboys, who essentially play in a dome as well. So it's not like the Colts are going in on the road and playing in a cold environment. They'll still be in the nice warm dome. So that's actually it helps out the Colts there.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. All right, so we'll make our predictions for this game right now, then we'll get to the rest of the Week 16 slate. You know what? I'm not gonna pick the Cowboys. I'm just not. It's illegal. Maybe we'll get your dog to make a pick too. But I'm thinking like high scoring affair. I'm thinking like 37-33 Colts.
Oh wow, you are going really high scoring.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think it's going to be that high scoring, actually. I think it's going to be like 24-21. I think the Colts will pull it out. But yeah, it'll be a close one. It's definitely going to be a field goal game. We just got to hope that it doesn't come down to a field goal by the Cowboys, because Dan Bailey, he's proving to be one of the best kickers in the league. So we're going to have to deal with him for a while. He's a hell of a kicker.
Yeah. Well, the Colts got a good one too. Adam Vinatieri.
Well, yeah,
He's won a couple Super Bowls.
yeah. No, I mean he's good, but
I
but
don't know.
Bailey, especially at home, he's not going to miss much. So
Yeah, Bailey. Honestly, he might be the best kicker in the league right now.
yeah, no, he is. He's definitely the best kicker in the league. Yeah, he's a good one. So the Cowboys, yeah, they found their future kicker.
Yeah, I mean, he had that big kick last week against Philly, and I knew it was going right down the middle, and he freaking knocked it down the pike.
Yeah, the guy never misses.
Yep, yep. All right. So rest of the Week 16 slate. Jesus Christ, we're gonna start with this game tonight. You know how North Korea hacked? You know, they pulled this movie. What's it called? The Interview.
The interview, yeah.
Yeah. So North Korea, they hacked. The government it made a threat to get the movie pulled. Well, they should also be making threats. So we can get this Jacksonville game pulled tonight, because this game is a joke. I mean, how is this game going to be on national television? Who's going to watch this shit? Are you serious? Tennessee at Jacksonville, and you know what? I'm going to take the Jaguars in this one.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking the Jaguars too, because Titans are awful.
Yeah, yeah, they're real bad right now. All right, the other Saturday game. Oh, I hear your dog. He made a prediction. He's saying, "Wow, really? He's got a low scoring game." He said 10-3 Colts. Interesting.
Yeah, he doesn't want to give the Cowboys a touchdown at all. He only wants them to settle for a field goal.
Oh boy. All right, San Diego at San Francisco. That's your Saturday night game. I had the Niners last week. I covered them. I mean, this team is a mess right now. I believe they've scored 17 or more points. I believe the number is like 6 of their last 7 games. Oh, my bad. My bad. He said 10-3 in overtime.
Uh,
Oh boy. Yeah, so San Francisco, they're a mess right now. San Diego needs this win for playoff reasoning.
he's being annoying. I'm gonna have to buy a muzzle next time.
Yeah. Oh, he basically he just said fuck Tony Romo. That's all he said.
Yeah.
All right. And Des Bryant can suck a dick. I can't do the show right now, man. I'm trying to concentrate. He keeps damn barking. I'm taking the Chargers. That's it.
Yeah, the Chargers, 49ers, they got a lot going on. There's reports, that Michigan made an offer to Harbaugh. So, yeah, not looking good. My 7-9 prediction is looking pretty good for the 49ers right now.
Yeah, it is. That's amazing. That is incredible. Wow. They've just fallen off a cliff, and it's their offense. They can't score points. All right. 1 o'clock games for Sunday. Let's pick out the shitty ones first. New England at the Jets. I think we both got the Patriots.
Yeah.
Actually, not too many shitty games. Minnesota at Miami. I think we'll both take the Dolphins in that one.
Yeah.
Um,
Green Bay, Tampa Bay, obviously Green Bay.
yeah, definitely. I don't even see that one on here. Wow. This is Pro Football Weekly, and they fucked up. They don't have the Green Bay game on here. This is I have all the games right here for the whole season.
The misprint.
Wow, Green Bay is not on here. I'm gonna have to hit them up and correct them on their mistake. That's incredible. All right, so I guess we'll do the Detroit game right now. I guess we're both taking the Lions because there ain't no way in hell Chicago's winning this game with the way they're playing.
Yeah, not a chance that the freaking Bears win this game.
Nope. Let's see. I mean, these games really aren't that bad. Baltimore at Houston. For playoff purposes, I think the Ravens, they got the motivation here. Yeah. Cleveland at Carolina. Johnny Football again. Yes, he was Johnny Goose Egg on last Sunday. I love me some Johnny Football. It's simply for the shenanigans and the money signs and all that. I love me some swag, that's for sure. Carolina right now isn't playing that bad, and they're a half game behind New Orleans for the NFC South lead. I got the Panthers in this one.
Yeah, I got the Panthers too. They're going to have Cam Newton back, it looks like. And with Johnny Football at quarterback, if his first start was any indication, I don't think his second start is going to be much better. So, yeah, the Panthers should win this one.
Yep. Let's see. We got Atlanta at New Orleans, a big NFC South showdown there. Oh boy. Wow. I like the Saints at home in that one. Atlanta won the Week 1 game in Atlanta. So this game, if the Saints win, it knocks Atlanta out of playoff contention.
Yeah, I definitely think Saints will win this one at home.
We've got Kansas City at Pittsburgh. Pretty important game for both teams with playoff implications in the AFC. Chiefs, they haven't been so hot the last month or so. The Steelers, on the other hand, you just never know what you're going to get from them, Jekyll and Hyde. But I think I like the Chiefs in this one. I haven't been a Steelers guy all year. I'm just like, I don't know how they're doing it. I don't think they're that great of a team. So I like the Chiefs on the road.
Yeah, we're actually going to differentiate on this one. I
All
think,
right, yippee.
yeah. Well, I haven't been a big Steelers guy all year, but I think that the past few weeks they've really picked it up, and I think they're starting to play like the old Steelers. And with the way that Le'Veon Bell is playing, he's really carrying them at this point. And with that game being in Pittsburgh, I think that the Steelers win, and it really becomes a knockout blow to the Chiefs.
Uh, um,
He doesn't like the Steelers pick. My dog is not a Steelers fan.
Actually, what he just said is he thinks he thinks DeMarco Murray is going to break his other hand on Sunday.
Well, hopefully he can predict the future.
I would be very impressed if he got that one right. I really would. And if it's 10-3 on Sunday, I got to give your dog props. That would be pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's gonna win a whole box of dog treats.
Oh man! All right, Giants at St. Louis. This is a shitty game. I guess I'll take the Rams at home. The Giants are playing better though, but I think the Rams are just playing better.
Yeah, you could really go either way on this one. I mean, I'll just take the Rams because they're at home, but. Yeah, it's really a battle between two teams who have been playing well recently, but they're both out of it. So yeah, I'll go with the Rams.
Yeah, I mean Odell Beckham is. I'm already cringing thinking about that matchup going up against Bradley Fletcher. Oh my God, are you kidding me? If Billy Davis lets him out on that island. Oh man, he ain't coming back. He's gonna get trapped. It's gonna be like Lost. He's not gonna be able to find himself off the island.
Yeah, they definitely have to double cover Beckham in that game, and they better figure out a way to try to double Deshaun in this game, because we can't let Fletcher just be on an island all by himself again.
I've never understood why Nolan Carroll isn't getting that shot. Now, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, Fletcher's been bad, awful all year long, especially on the deep ball. He just doesn't get turned around. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I mean, I don't know what it's going to take to give Nolan Carroll a shot, but obviously it's taking a lot because Fletcher is still in there.
Yep. All right. Another late game. Buffalo at Oakland. The Raiders, they've got 2 wins on the season, but I like the Bills on the road here. Bills coming off a big win against Green Bay last Sunday, so I see them sustaining momentum and winning this one.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going with the upset.
All right.
The Raiders, they didn't fail me last time, and they're not going to fail me again. I'm going with the Raiders, or they're going to take down the Bills.
All right. All right, Sunday night game. This is the game I'm covering on Sunday. Seattle at Arizona. Big, obviously huge game. NFC West implications on the line. The winner of this game is probably going to win the division. Seattle already beat Arizona at home earlier this season. I just don't see how the Cardinals are going to win this game. For whatever reason, they just keep finding ways to win. They rotate all these quarterbacks. You're going to have Ryan Lindley in this week. They keep stopping teams. I mean, they've overcome all these injuries. But the way Seattle's playing right now, they might be the hottest team in the NFL. No one, I mean, They're not allowing anyone to score any points right now, and I don't see how the Cardinals can score more than 6 points. So I really don't. So I'm thinking like a 20-6 win, and something like that.
Yeah, it'll be like a defensive battle, definitely. I mean that Seattle defense, uh, actually, the more I think about it, the Seattle defense going up against Lindley, holy crap! The Cardinals could be in big trouble. The Seahawks might actually return a pick or two for a touchdown in this game. So that the score actually might be a lot higher than I think. I mean, I think that the Seahawks win this one in a rout. I think it's only a matter of time before all these quarterbacks and injuries come back to haunt the Cardinals.
Yeah, completely agree with you there. All right, and the Monday night game is actually pretty good matchup this week. Denver at Cincinnati. The Bengals are going to try to keep pace up top the AFC North with a victory, but the problem with them is whenever they have a primetime game, they shit the bed, and this is a tough matchup. I like the Broncos. Broncos are playing a little bit better since their loss to the Rams, so I like the Broncos in this one.
Yeah, I definitely like the Broncos too in this one. Peyton Manning in prime time, and like you were saying, Bengals not playing that well in the spotlight. So obviously, Broncos going for that top seed in the AFC, and while the Bengals are trying to win their division, but yeah, Broncos should win this one.
All right, so those are our Week 16 picks. Obviously, we got some. Also, we got some picks from Mike's dog. I forget what your dog's name is.
Buddy.
Buddy. So we got picks from Buddy as well. Buddy doesn't like the Cowboys on Sunday. He likes the Colts to win 10-3. So if you can understand dog talk, see that I speak 3 languages. I speak English, Ukrainian, and dogs. So I know dogs very well. And I agree with Buddy. I think the Colts are going to win too.
Yeah, I'll probably end up like going upstairs and there will actually be something like majorly wrong with my house. Maybe there's a fire or somebody broke in. He's barking like a maniac up there.
I don't think it's a coincidence. It started once we started talking about the Cowboys.
Yeah, no, it's not a coincidence.
Hey, I got to give you props though for training that dog well. I mean, that's awesome.
It wasn't hard. I just trained him by right away. As soon as we got him, he was very obedient and he understood the rules.
So what happens when your boy Cowboy Dan comes over?
Cowboy Dan, we haven't actually watched the game together in a while. It's been years, so yeah, I don't know.
So he's afraid to come over, basically. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he wouldn't, want to fade Buddy.
Oh man, I am curious to see if Buddy ever crosses paths with either Tony Romo or Des Bryant.
Yeah, it wouldn't be pretty for Romo or Bryant, that's for sure.
All right, so those are our picks for this week. We covered everything. Once again, we're over an hour. I mean, I don't know how we keep doing this hour shows, but we love our birds, baby. We love our birds, and I can't stress this enough again. For you fans that don't want the Eagles to make the playoffs because you don't want your heart broken in the postseason because you don't think this team's good enough, get the fuck out of Philadelphia.
Well, I think that we should just end the show on those words. I think that you took the spotlight this time for the final saying because I totally agree.
All right. With that being said, that's Mike Owens. I'm Adrian Fedke. I will adhere to your request. We are out of here. Later. Go Birds. Go Colts. Go Colts too.